To the square, gives them all a run and jump. Oh, Westner has taken the mark. Stay composed. It should be an elementary kick from an AFL footballer, and it is. And they are showing so much heart today. They're in front by 7 points. And how good is that? How sweet the taste of victory.
The Brisbane Lions take victory for the third time this season, and the coach of the Lions, Chris Fagan, joins us after a brilliant win for the football club. Chris, congratulations.
Yeah, good morning. It was a great day for the club, just in terms of our confidence that we're trying to build with the young group, and get wins like that on the road against good teams like Essendon, particularly that venue where they play very well, was really exciting for the club.
You look like a proud dad after the game as you went and celebrated with your players, a lot of them really young players, but also some of your more senior players. You just look like a very proud man.
Yeah, I was. I mean, you've got to enjoy those moments. Like in terms of our development, games like that are sort of like yardsticks for us. We haven't been able to win on the road, and that's one of those things that you want to tick off just to bring belief to your team. And, you know, I guess in a way, I am 55. I am a bit like their dad, so it's a bit of the role that you play, I guess, as a coach.
You talked about belief, Chris. It's Jimmy Bartell here, but the resilience impressed me, especially you lost Darcy Gardner with an elbow injury early, but your young players in the last quarter really, took it up to the Bombers. Yeah,
they did, and that's the second week in a row where those guys have been good. We lost Dane Beams early in the game last week against GWS, and guys like Reece Matheson and Jared Berry and Hugh McCluggage stood up. So, losing players early in games is a bad thing for the team, but in other ways it's good when others do stand up. And there was a bit of adversity yesterday, and we're able to overcome. So that was great.
And the really impressive thing is you've given these young players big roles in the team. You haven't tried to hide them, and you're trying to win the game.
Yeah, like every week we try to win. Big believer in that. You've got to experience the disappointment of losing, I reckon, to grow and develop. So we build every game up. We go into every game thinking that we can win it, and when we don't, we get flat. And when we do, we get a lot from it. So that's the way we'll always approach it. And the other thing about development of players, you get your confidence from playing against good opposition players. Now, Harris Andrews against Joe Danaher yesterday. He's had Lynch and various other good players to play on this year, and he's got a few scalps, and he puts those in his footy kit bag, and his confidence grows, and he becomes one of the good players in the comp.
Chris, 27 points down last quarter. Do you hope that this is the response that happens, or did you sense that possibly this was a possibility?
Oh, we talked at three-quarter time just about trying to win the quarter. I mean, where we are as a footy club, winning quarters is really important for us. We didn't win many last year, and we're trying to win more than we did last year, and I think we've got past that mark now, which is great. We've got a few more weeks to go, so we can win some more quarters. But that was the focus. We didn't want to. Unfortunately, a few times this year we've been in games at three-quarter time and got beaten up pretty badly in last quarters, and we just wanted to try and win the quarter. And then, funnily enough, we got some goals. We got close enough, and then the belief came, and some things went our way, and we were able to capitalise.
Have you noticed a real shift in the attitude for the club? In the past month, you've had good news after good news. You've a couple of wins, but a lot of re-signings for your young stars. Obviously, Shaki was well publicised, but Harris Andrews and these guys.
Yeah, it's become. I think it's a happy place. I mean, I've often said to people, if you came to our footy club, you wouldn't think we're on the bottom of the ladder, because what we're trying to do is just keep our players busy trying to improve week on week and finding the positives and building on that. And I think in any workplace, whether it be a footy club or any other organisation, most people will want to stay and work at that place if they are enjoying themselves and they are improving. And that's the environment we've tried to create. And the other thing that's been terrific is our NEFL team. They're second on the ladder at the moment. They've won 10 games, I think, and lost a couple after last year winning 3 and having a percentage of 50. So there's some real optimism around the footy club, and it's been great that the guys that were up for re-signing have decided to stay.
I think the football world was already in love with Eric Hipwood, but can you tell us a bit about this kid?
Yeah, he's just an energetic, vibrant young man, loves footy, plays with real aggression, trains hard, wants to be the best player that he can be. He's got all those characteristics that a coach loves, and he's aggressive as well. He doesn't fear anything, and it was great for him to play so well yesterday. I think that 4's his best bag in AFL footy, and he's going to be a handful in years to come. He hasn't reached his full potential yet, nor his full strength and size. So as long as he keeps his an even head on his shoulders, he's going to be a really great player in years to come.
Chris, last time we spoke to you was after your first round win against the Suns. Now, sort of roll the clock forward 14 or 15 weeks. Is the squad better than you thought it would be? Is the talent perhaps a bit better?
Oh, look, I knew we had some talent there. I mean, we drafted really well last year as well, but a lot of the guys that played at the club last year, like McStay and Andrews and Hipwood, that Leffer brought on under his coaching regime, they were all only 1 or 2 years into their careers. So I sort of always knew that there'd be lots of improvement in the guys that were already there. It was just a matter of time and games and experience and learning and playing together. I mean, the good part about the last 4 weeks is we haven't had to make too many changes to our team other than for injuries. So we're getting a little bit of continuity. But I just knew with that young group that there would be improvement there, and with the addition of the guys we got in the draft last year, that Witherden being another one of those who stood up really well in the last couple of weeks, that we'd get better.
And coming from that Hawthorn model where you were part of the journey with Alistair Clarkson of developing a young team that became obviously a multiple premiership team, what is the secret to development? Is it just putting confidence into a young group? Is it teaching? Is it all sort of all sorts of different things? Is there one that sort of stands out?
It's a lot of different things. It's not something that's easy to explain in 30 seconds. Probably the biggest, most important thing, though, I think, is developing in your club a culture of honesty and culture of leadership, where the players help each other to develop and set standards for each other. I think that's the critical thing, and we've done some great work in that area. We've had Simon Fletcher from Leading Teams working with us, and Ray McLean as well, and they're two pretty experienced heads in the footy world, and they've been steering us in the right direction. We
mentioned Josh Shackey earlier. How close is he, Chris?
He's had 3 games back in the NEFL now. I think he played well on the weekend. I need to check in with Mitch Hahn today just to get a report on that game. He's kicked 10 goals in the last 3 games. Couldn't tell you, it's pretty hard to change a winning team, and we're pretty keen for Josh just to develop confidence down in the NEFL. He's been under a lot of pressure since the moment he started playing AFL footy, through no fault of his own. And I reckon when he comes back, we want to make sure he's in a good state of mind and feeling really good about himself and his football.
People down here probably get sick of me singing Dane Zorko's praises. Before you went to Brisbane, did you have an idea of how good he is or what type of player? Because his season's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he was a good player, but he's way better than I thought. And his response yesterday after having a quiet game last week was sensational. I mean, he got a little bit of flack for having 5 possessions, but the thing that people didn't really point out about his game last week was that he led our team for pressure acts. So he still tried to contribute in that way, but his response in an all-round game yesterday, 30 touches, 8 or 9 tackles, a couple of goals. I thought it was brilliant. And he shadowed Zach Merritt for most of the day, and I think Zach might have ended up with 19, which is probably the quietest game he's had in some time as well. So, Dane Zorko is a star of a player and a fantastic leader at our club.
2 years since Zach Merritt's had less than 20 disposals. So it was, and I think he had 5 in the first half. Just finally, Chris, one of my lasting impressions of yesterday was the hug you had with Tom Rockliff after the game. And Tom's obviously had a fairly eventful 12 to 18 months, but I thought it was significant, so much so that Tom Rockliff actually retweeted the photo of you two embracing. Can you just explain and share your relationship with Tom?
Well, it's a strong relationship. Our first meeting was a tough meeting because he wasn't sure whether he wanted to stay at the club or not. There was, lots of bad press around him and his leadership last year, so we had a very open and honest conversation about all the things that I'd heard he'd been accused of, and I made it really clear to him that I wasn't talking to him about my opinion. It was more about what I'd heard about him. He accepted that some of it was true. He thought some of it was a bit harsh. Basically we drew the line in the sand there, and I said, well, from this day forward, mate, really, how you act and what you do is what I'll judge you by, and not what's happened in the past. And he's been fantastic for us. His attitude towards the pre-season, which was something that people had criticised him for, his weight and his fitness, was fantastic. It wasn't easy for him because he had a little Achilles injury that sort of held him back for a while, but he still managed to get his weight down and got himself really fit. He took it on the chin when he didn't get the captaincy, but every time Dane hasn't played, he's risen to the occasion and been a great player for us. So I'm really pleased for him. I just hope that I think it will be clear now that Tommy's brand has improved a fair bit from where it was 12 months ago, and he thoroughly deserves that.
Great way to finish the interview, Chris. Really appreciate your honesty, and congratulations on the victory. It was a great day for the Brisbane Lions and for the old Fitzroy supporters as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me.